Every day, hundreds of thousands of patrolmen report for duty, armed with a badge and the latest in video technology. You are about to witness their never-before-seen footage, their stories caught on tape. Now on Disorderly Conduct, escapees on a ramming rampage. Suspects flip out, both physically and mentally. And this woman is more than just a little tipsy. Take the plunge and get your kicks. Disorderly Conduct is on the air. Lawrence, South Carolina. Officer Scott Slatterfield monitors his radio.
It's okay, I'm right here at the intersection of Pine Haven and West Farm at this time.
As fellow officers chase an armed and dangerous murder suspect in a red Corvette.
He turned off.
Slatterfield hunts for the suspect, who is running on 3 tires after hitting a spike strip. He turns a corner, and the chase is headed straight at him.
Got him inside, 10-12. He's flying. Back up. He's gonna hit me.
The suspect flies past his dash cam, and Slatterfield pursues, almost losing it around the next corner. Ahead of him, a second cruiser driven by Lieutenant Stuart Knapp intercepts the suspect and turns his car around. Slatterfield and Knapp keep up the pursuit. Lieutenant Knapp takes the lead as the chase nears an intersection. Dead ahead, the suspect has bailed out of the Corvette and carjacks a minivan. And this powder keg of a chase is about to explode. The suspect drags the terrified woman out of the driver's seat, jumps in the van, and heads straight for Officer Slatterfield. But the officer is ready and taking dead aim. 2 shots from Slatterfield's gun slam through the windshield. The van collides with the cruiser, nearly hitting Slatterfield off camera, and is blocked from escape by another officer. Incredibly, the suspect escaped those 2 bullets, but he's not willing to risk a third. He surrenders off camera and is dragged from the van and arrested. It's a close call for a lot of cops and an innocent civilian. But thanks to some well-coordinated police work, a dangerous suspect is off the streets. He's booked for carjacking and assault on an officer with intent to kill. North Lake, Texas. An officer responds to reports that a motorist has been driving recklessly along Interstate 35. After following the suspect for a short distance, the trooper initiates a stop. Despite the turn signal, the driver shows no signs of pulling over. In fact, he speeds up and weaves through early morning traffic. At the next exit, the suspect leaves the interstate, then almost loses it at the bottom of the off-ramp. As light rain begins to fall, concern mounts about the safety of other motorists in his path. Suddenly, the man cuts across this median, hangs a U-turn, then takes aim at the trooper. The officer later says he's convinced this was no accident since the man was staring straight at him. Neither man is about to give in, and the pursuit is back on. The trooper's damaged cruiser follows the suspect into a residential area. Maybe the suspect didn't see the sign that says no outlet, or maybe he doesn't care. It isn't long before the man finds himself entering a cul-de-sac, but he isn't about to let a little thing like a closed-off street stop him. The suspect circles around, then once again, connects with the cruiser. The driver keeps going as this normally peaceful neighborhood is filled with the sound of sirens and the smell of smoke. But the suspect is running out of options. His engine is catching fire and at least one of his tires is flat. When he comes to the end of another cul-de-sac, he whips into a driveway. He calmly gets out as if this is all a big misunderstanding. After being assured that it's not, he's ordered to the ground. He even gets offended when the trooper tries to help him down. Remember, just minutes before, the suspect allegedly tried to run the officer down. Not once, but twice. The man finally decides he'd better comply, especially with a taser gun pointed at his back. But when he refuses orders one more time, it's time to put the taser to use. When the young man recovers, he's booked for felony evading, leaving the scene of an accident, and 8 traffic violations. And why didn't he stop? It turns out he simply had a suspended license. Police in Lawrence, South Carolina are hot on the heels of a suspect after watching him run a red light and nearly causing a head-on collision. Now he nearly wipes out at another intersection. He's all over the road at speeds pushing 100 miles per hour. You don't want to be driving in the opposite direction headed towards the chase. The suspect just misses an oncoming motorist as he drifts into the opposite lane. It's a bad ending just waiting to happen. The suspect is going too fast to make the curve. He slams on the brakes. But it's too late. He hits the concrete barrier and rolls hard. It's a crash that would have most people unconscious or worse. But the suspect is already trying to escape out the window. Cops get him cuffed and under control. Turns out the suspect is good enough to stand and even walks to the car with a limp. He refuses treatment at the hospital. But once in the back of a cruiser on the way to jail, he decides the hospital isn't such a bad place after all.
Man, y'all would take me to the hospital, man. My leg, man. Man, y'all killing me, man. Y'all killing me.
We have done everything to...
Man, y'all ain't did a damn thing to help me.
The suspect is booked for DUI, failure to stop, and resisting arrest. Don't flip that channel. Lots more disorderly conduct is straight ahead. A man on a roof is out of his tree. And a terrified store clerk begs an armed robber for his life. Don't fret, more disorderly conduct is coming up. Police in Hollywood, California are faced with an unusual problem. A shirtless and disturbed young man has taken over the roof of this fast food restaurant. Cops aren't sure what the guy wants. He's threatened to jump. But he seems more interested in tossing anything he can find off the roof. And we mean anything. He may not really want to jump, but he's taken some pretty serious chances with his life. Playing to the police and the crowd watching below. Police suspect he's under the influence and have no idea what is motivating this guy. But at some point, he has to be removed as safely as possible. With that in mind, cops head up to the roof while the man is distracted elsewhere. Off camera, they bring him down with non-lethal beanbags. Then he's tied down to a stretcher and hoisted to the ground with a crane. Police and medics tend to the man, and he's in pretty good shape. At least good enough to walk to the backseat of a cruiser in handcuffs. He was booked for assault and treated at a nearby hospital. Nobody was hurt by any thrown objects, but a lot of people were left scratching their heads over this bizarre incident. It's January 1st, but this is no New Year's celebration. A robbery is going down in this Sherman, Texas convenience store. The masked man attacks the clerk and demands cash, but the injured shopkeeper either can't or won't open the register.
I tried to. Open it now. I tried to. I'm gonna shoot.
Finally, the drawer pops open and the suspect helps himself to the day's receipts.
Pick up my.
But the bad guy isn't done yet and orders his victim to the floor.
Lay down now. Lay down. There. Lay down. Lay down. Lay down. Put your hands on that.
At first, the emotional clerk obeys the order,
Lay down.
but he refuses to stay down for long.
Get out. On the floor. On the floor.
Finally, the robber has had enough of this scream fest and takes off. As the thief heads out the door, the clerk pushes an emergency button. The masked man has yet to be caught, but as he escapes into the night, the clerk does leave him with some parting words. It's a rainy night in Medical Lake, Washington, where police are in pursuit of a burglary suspect. Speeds hit 70 miles an hour as the young man at the wheel refuses to give in. The suspect's next high-speed stunt is to pull a dangerous U-turn across the rain-slickened road. But Officer Hayes stays on his man as the pursuit reverses direction. These conditions are right for a spin-out, and that's just what the suspect does. After straightening out, the pickup circles a tree, then goes one-on-one with the squad car. The suspect rams Officer Hayes' vehicle, then moves back and forth as another officer approaches. Then he pops it into drive, and hits the other squad car. The desperate driver refuses to be boxed in, and the pursuit is on once again. It's now 2 in the morning, and the rain is coming down harder by the hour. Suddenly, Officer Hayes sees a terrifying sight. The pickup veers off the road, then the driver overcompensates, causing the truck to overturn. When Officer Hayes pulls up to the scene, he expects to find the suspect injured. But to his surprise, the man's not only unharmed, he's not done running. The suspect dashes across the field, then back across the road where other officers stop him with a taser gun. After being checked out at a hospital, he checks into jail where he's booked for attempting to elude, causing a collision, and driving under the influence. Hang on tight. Disorderly conduct is still rolling. You can't run from the law forever, but you can always jump. And these guys get their kicks on the subway, the hard way. Stay conscious. A lot more disorderly conduct is just around the bend. Many pursuit suspects are fueled by alcohol, and police think that's the case tonight in Los Angeles. The driver was first spotted weaving along surface streets, but before long, he's leading the LAPD down the freeway. When he exits the interstate, an officer appears to try a pit maneuver. But the window of opportunity closes too quickly. And the chase continues. Down the street, it's a repeat performance when the officer moves in for another attempted pit. A few blocks later, the SUV jumps a curve and takes the pursuit into an industrial part of the city. The suspect appears to know this area, and before long, he leads officers through a gate and up a ramp. This is an upper-level parking lot, and it looks like it will be easy to box the suspect in. But suddenly, the man flings open his door and runs for it. The desperate driver heads for the edge and beyond. Even though he slams into the back of a pickup, he keeps on going. But he won't get far. The injured man knows when he's beaten, and officers make sure he doesn't change his mind. The 40-year-old man will be charged for felony evading and driving under the influence. But before he heads to jail, he's off to the hospital where he'll be treated for injuries sustained in his fall. Two guys are taking things outside, and a third in dark clothes tries to keep things under control. After his pals got in an argument over the same girl in a local pub. One takes off his shirt, which is meant to threaten the other guy. It looks like fists could fly any second, but things cool off a bit and the threesome heads off to take a train home. At the station platform, a second camera picks up the action. More words are exchanged, and the guy with no shirt is ready to go at it again. He gets his wish. The third friend stands by waiting to see how all this turns out. After a while, he steps between the combatants. The bare-chested man picks up his shirt, and his opponent blindsides him with a hard right, then makes liberal use of his foot to finish the job. This infuriates the third friend, who's been a peacemaker until now. He throws the attacker down to the ground. The tape skips a beat, but catches this vicious kick to the head. That knocks the man out cold. And he is still unconscious when the police arrive moments later. The guy with no shirt struggles to his feet. He seems barely conscious, but he's still doing a lot better than the other guy, who is later carted off to a hospital with a severe concussion and neck injury after a kick to the head that could have kept him out of the pubs for good. It's a high-speed pursuit through Orangeburg County, South Carolina. It all started when an officer recognized the driver as a wanted man he suspects to have outstanding warrants. The suspect sped off, and now he races down the interstate at a terrifying 105 miles an hour. As the midnight chase nears the town of Swansea, another trooper becomes the lead pursuer. That's the suspect's spinning lights as his car takes a tumble. The man loses control when he makes the dumb decision to try a high-speed pass on the right. When officers pull up, they find the car on its side with smoke pouring out. The driver is bleeding, but he survives. After doctors check him out, he's charged with driving under the influence, failure to stop, and reckless driving. Keep your eyes on the road. There's a lot of disorderly conduct straight ahead. A driver can't handle her SUV, but that doesn't stop her. And this lady can't handle her liquor, but she sure can aim. Stay on the scene. Disorderly conduct is still kicking. Toledo, Ohio. A pickup has broken down along Interstate 280 on New Year's Eve. Two of the passengers wait near the truck while the driver chats with the trooper in his cruiser. All appears calm until a woman suddenly points and runs. Here's why. An out-of-control SUV hits both the patrol car and the pickup before stopping across the interstate. The SUV's driver and the couple by the truck are uninjured, but the trooper and the pickup's driver have to be treated for lacerations.
13787, just been involved in a 31.
As for the SUV driver, police say she's ticketed for failure to maintain control. Police officer Jim Simone pulls over a woman for speeding in Cleveland, Ohio.
Let me have your driver's license, please.
The first thing that hits him is the strong smell of alcohol.
Passing 25 miles over the speed limit, miss. Step out of the vehicle, please. Step out, miss.
No.
Ma'am, listen, you've been drinking.
Do you mind?
Ma'am.
You don't have any right to touch me.
The man in the blue shirt is an assistant city prosecutor on a ride-along with Officer Simone. He wants to learn a little about what the job's really like. Tonight, he will get that chance.
Don't touch me. I want a
Arrest.
female
Step out.
officer. Don't touch me. I'm afraid of you. Don't touch me.
Ma'am,
Don't
if you don't want to get
touch
pepper
me.
sprayed, step out of the car right now.
No.
Step out.
I live 2 blocks away.
You didn't make it, miss. Step out of the vehicle.
No.
Looks like she wants to go the hard way.
up.
Not gonna
I'm
beat you
a
up, man.
girl that's a
You're
diabetic.
under arrest. You also smell like a brewery. Step out.
Officer Simone tries to remove her from the car, but the woman grabs his hands, scratching and trying to bite him.
Are you gonna beat up a diabetic girl?
Ma'am, get out of the vehicle.
You're I'm a medical student, bitch. Wait till you go to jail.
Officer Simone pepper sprays the woman.
That's nice. That makes you feel better?
With the help of the assistant prosecutor, the suspect is pulled from the car.
Get her other arm. Get her other arm.
That's great. Get my other arm. I'm a diabetic. So get the pepper spray, diabetic girl. Are you?
Without warning, the suspect fires a backwards kick at Officer Simone. The look on his face pretty much tells exactly where he's hit. And he's giving the assistant prosecutor a great lesson in composure under difficult circumstances.
I'm diabetic.
You're also drunk. Come with me.
Off. My face is burning.
The suspect was treated at the hospital and then booked for DUI, assault on an officer, resisting arrest, and speeding. She did, however, write a letter of apology for using her foot at the wrong time and most definitely hitting the wrong place. The felony charge was reduced to a misdemeanor so she could finish medical school in good standing. And in spite of it all, Officer Simone was still standing at the end of the night. A suspect tears up the freeway at 120 miles an hour as cops give chase in Port Wentworth, Georgia. They tried to pull him over for speeding, and he has already tried to ram cops off the road. And now it's a flat-out pedal-to-the-metal pursuit with this suspect all over the highway. Cops move to box him in, but he switches lanes and cuts off the second cruiser. But the suspect is running out of tricks. On a new stretch of highway, he gives it everything he's got, swerving around to the right of a slower car. The suspect gets past the car all right, but loses control trying to get back on the road and ends up in the grass. But he's not done running. The quick-thinking cop cuts off the escape. The suspect takes off on foot, and this time, he's quickly run down and arrested on multiple charges, including felony fleeing, driving with a suspended license, and speeding. Don't run! More disorderly conduct is coming up. It's a robbery in reverse by a bunch of backwards crooks. And this guy goes over a fence. But these cops have a better way through it. You can run, but you can't hide from disorderly conduct. A sheriff in Clinton County, Michigan tries to pull over a car with expired registration tags. But the female driver thinks otherwise. She's off and running, weaving in and out of oncoming traffic. Blowing through busy intersections. And running stop signs. The woman finds some local streets, and the chase becomes a dizzying ride around the neighborhood. The sheriff has a pretty good idea that the woman is on her home turf and looking for a hideout.
Might be getting her this bail, I believe.
And sure enough, a few minutes later, she pulls a park and run. But she doesn't get far as more units show up down the street. She's cuffed off camera and under arrest when, out of the blue, a man opens the car door as if to take something out.
Get out of here.
Don't forget, the woman has a lot of friends on this block. One of them loaned her the car. Problem is, the car was actually owned by yet a third person.
It's my car now.
Which might explain the confrontation down the street. Once again, requiring the presence of the sheriff.
Oh, they're fighting somebody now. I gotta go.
Another arrest is made, and a few items are found in the suspect's car.
She has some needles in her purse.
Delivering dope?
Police say she was also in violation of parole with 3 outstanding warrants, which may go a long way toward explaining her driving habits. It's the middle of the night inside this electronics store. All is quiet, or so it seems. A Land Rover makes a grand entrance, then lunges forward. It appears the driver is trying to get the vehicle back out, but this is no accident. Moments later, passengers pour into the store like it's the sale of the century. A total of 7 suspects make a mad dash for the goods. Within seconds, the pillagers pile out with what they think are expensive items. If they're pleased with themselves, that will suddenly change when they try out their new toys. It turns out, all the goods were display items, and none of them actually work. It all starts with a basic question at a traffic stop in Temple, Texas. But when the Bell County deputy asks for the driver's license and insurance, the answer takes him by surprise. And now the chase is on.
It'll be a blue Chevy going down South 24th. South on 24th.
The suspect flies over train tracks and blows through stop signs.
We're gonna right on Heritage. Right on Heritage.
The old Chevy takes a rough ride through the bumps in the road. This guy's options are running out. He tosses a beer bottle out the window.
Just threw something out at 30th.
Then moments later, the Chevy slows down and the suspect makes a run for it, with the car still rolling and about to hit a pole. A passenger still in the vehicle pulls away at the last minute, and the car safely lands in a ditch just as the second officer arrives at the scene. Now the officers give chase on foot. The suspect makes his way to the other side of a wooden fence. Other officers then arrive, bust through the fence, and make the arrest. Turns out the suspect took off because his license was revoked, and he didn't want to get into any more trouble. A bad decision, since he ends up getting charged with felony evading. Now officers say he'll spend 1 year behind bars. Seconds away on disorderly conduct. This driver makes the mistake of thinking he can outrun his own truck. And a woman is too drunk to drive or even stand. It's all next on Disorderly Conduct. The bars have just closed in St. Cloud, Minnesota, and a deputy suspects this guy's too drunk to drive. The petite police officer makes it clear that she's in charge, even though the man appears to tower over her. At first, all goes smoothly, as he's put through a series of field sobriety tests. When the decision is made to bring out the cuffs, another officer moves in to help. But the man suddenly has second thoughts about spending tonight in a jail cell. He proves he's as strong as he is tall and does his best to break free. You can see the battle continue through the reflection in the store window. Despite being outnumbered, the suspect is able to jump back into the car. His passenger decides he wants no part of this and makes a hasty exit. The car backs up, then lunges forward. It turns out that just off camera, the male officer became wedged between the suspect and the steering wheel. When the car moved, he was in fear of his life and shot the suspect in the shoulder. After the car crashes into a parking meter, the uninjured officer goes to detain the passenger while other deputies tend to the suspect. The driver survives his bullet wound, but now faces felony charges of obstruction of justice, as well as driving while impaired. As for his passenger, he won't face charges and is no doubt thankful he hit the road when he did. Cops are paid to be curious. So when a Pontiac, Michigan officer spots this stopped truck, he decides to check it out. Curiosity quickly turns to concern when the man suddenly takes off. Soon it's a full-fledged pursuit as the pickup flies through the Michigan night. It's bad enough when he runs a few lights and weaves across lanes. But now he's headed directly toward other cars. Finally, he races across the median and pulls a U-turn. He speeds toward Detroit, and units are determined to stop him before he reaches metropolitan Motown. The decision is made to try and box this guy in, but it's safe to assume he won't cooperate. He cuts between the cruisers, but he's soon up against the wall. The desperate driver opens his door and looks like he's about to run for it. A squad car thwarts his plans, but only temporarily. Moments later, he dives out of the moving truck, but he won't get far. An officer tackles the suspect, and both men are literally sandwiched between the truck and the patrol car. Neither man is injured, and the suspect is still not ready to surrender. Officers are forced to taser him when he refuses to hand over his choice of smoke. With that, the man is arrested and booked for fleeing police and possession of a controlled substance.
215 headed towards 221. Subject done drove completely off the road twice.
Police Captain Randy Holyfield tracks a suspected DUI in Spartanburg, South Carolina, and pulls her over.
Good evening, ma'am.
Hi.
How you doing?
Fine.
Can I see your driver's license, please, ma'am? You drove completely off the road right back up here. Have you been drinking tonight?
No, sir.
She says she hasn't had a drop, but her body language tells a different story.
Excuse me, sir. You can sit down.
Oh, yes, ma'am, I sure can.
Time for a little testing.
From 41, count backwards to 19 for me.
41?
Yes, ma'am.
What do you mean, like 41?
From 41, count backwards to 19 for me.
Oh, okay. 41. 42.
From 41, count backwards to 19.
Backwards to 41. Okay. 41, 48, 47, 46. I don't understand what you're saying, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
And then a bigger challenge, counting on one foot.
1001, 1002, 1003. I can't do any further than that. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Are you gonna, like, kill me?
Ma'am?
But she's determined to get it right.
Gonna try it again.
Yes, ma'am. Step right back up here. If you think you can hold your foot up there and hold it, that's
Am I
fine.
doing something wrong?
Yes, ma'am, you sure are. Either one of the legs you want to use, just raise it up.
She raises her leg and falls off camera to the side of the road.
I'm face, aren't I?
You're what?
Face.
How many beers you had?
I've had about 2. Honest to God, sir.
About 2
Only
beers.
2.
About 2 beers.
But I'm a little weak ass.
You think you under the influence?
No, sir, I don't.
You don't think you are?
No, sir,
You
I
think you ought
don't.
to be driving?
No, sir, I don't.
You shouldn't be driving.
I don't think I should be
You
driving.
don't think you should be driving?
At least they agree on something.
Well, unfortunately, I must inform you now that I'm placing you under arrest for driving under the influence.
Cherry Sunday.